just going to do a quick tutorial on the valve clearances. So starting with the fuel gauges. These are basically just measured tiny skinny little bits of metal that will give you reference for a thickness. So we're going to just do it on here. Technically already done this, but I'm just going to show you how it works. So the gap on this is supposed to be between 0.07 and 0.13. So we are basically just making sure that those sizes go in. So this is a 0.08. So obviously we could start at even smaller, but we'll start at 0.08. These originally measured at 0.13 and 0.15, so 0.13 went in and a 0.15 didn't, so it was just fractionally out of the range. But now we just want to put it back in, so that goes in nicely, that goes in nicely, that goes in nicely. So you've got to be really careful when you're putting these in so you don't bend them. So what you want to try and do is get them so they're flat. So on the skinnier stuff it's not too bad because you can really around a little bit. That's in there, and then last one on this side without covering you. There, so it pushes it in. So that's that size, and then what you want to make sure of is it doesn't. So we've actually gone to where's 0.1? 0.1. So on these we are between 0.8 and 0.1. So you go here, won't push in. Go to here, won't push in. Go to here, won't push in, and then go to here, won't push in. So now that we know that we're between 0.08 and 0.1, so 0.08 goes in, so it's going to be 0.08 and bigger up to 0.1. So that is quickly how you measure them. Now, you want to be as accurate as possible when you're doing these measurements. So theoretically, if you're between your shim size, say for example you've got a 0.1 and then your next size up is a 0.13, that's quite a big tolerance. So even if you can actually put one feeler gauge in and another feeler gauge in on top to try and get a little bit more of an accurate reading, because whatever that clearance is quite important when you're actually having to measure your shims. So we'll just show you how we do the measurement from this point. So once we've got the shims out, so basically we've measured them, we know what the gaps are, then you need to take each shim out and then you use a micrometer to then measure the shim. So we basically just put it in, make sure it's clean, make sure the faces are clean, and then you just put it in and then adjusting it down. So this is a 1.255, so it's 2.55 mil. So we now know sizes now, and we can do that for each one. So there's 4 on this, so we'll measure all 4 of them, and then we can work out what the actual gap size we need, and then what shim size we need. So we'll show you that over the board. Okay, so this will be the value that we need. This is the shim size that we need, which is a 279. And we cannot get a larger shim than that, because it can be no bigger. So it can always be smaller, but no bigger. Because if it goes bigger, it means you're gonna be eating into that clearance, and we can't have that. So you're looking for a 279 or smaller, or closest to. So 277s, 278.5s, 279s if you can get it. And then you can pop that in, recheck them, and you should be good. So this is the board that we're going to be explain what the gaps are for. So this is your gap that you measure with your feeler gauge. So if we've got a 0.08 in there, that is the thickness size that we need to reference from, and that will be your A. Then your B measurement is the shim size, which is what we use the micrometer to measure. And then what we basically do is add those two numbers together. So that'll take your feeler gap plus your shim size. That'll give you your overall, and then you minus the gap that you need, your required gap. So in this case, our values are between 0.07 and 0.13. We opt to go for the slightly smaller size, especially for us, we're a tuning company, so we want to get the maximum amount of power. However, so long as you're within this range, you're absolutely fine. So take your feeler gap, add your shim. In this reference, it's A and B. So A being your feeler gap plus your shim size, then minus your gap that you require. So in our reference, we're using 0.07, and then that will give you your new shim size.